All right, let's call this meeting to order. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll have a roll call of board members, please.
Commissioner Burwinkle,
Present.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowlands,
Seconding.
Commissioner Watson, Commissioner Parks,
Excused.
and Commissioner Stanford. Commissioner Wilson
Here.
and Mr. Wayne.
Here.
Okay.
Madam President, for the record, Commissioner Parks called this morning indicating that an emergency special meeting was called for City Council's Finance and Budget Committee for 10 o'clock this morning. So she's notified me of her absence in this meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that we excuse Ms. Parks from this meeting.
A motion to excuse
Second.
Commissioner Victoria Parks from the meeting. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those nays, same sign, motion carried.
Second.
Commissioner Rowland.
Gotcha.
Yep. All right, everyone has the agenda. We'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda that's in front of you.
Madam President, I make a motion that we approve the agenda dated April 9th, 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and properly second to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign, motion carried. We're under public comment. I guess we don't have any guests this morning.
Madam President, the only thing that I'll indicate is the new employees that didn't have the opportunity to be
Right.
introduced last meeting.
Right.
We'll introduce them at this point in the agenda. First, I want to introduce Jenny Dexter, who is our, she came on board answering the call for an outreach assistant, and we very quickly identified her extensive background in communications and marketing. She's worked for the county with DDS and then also the city of Fairfield and then Fort Myers Beach as well. So she is now serving with Amber and Duvisi, our outreach manager, as our communications full time. So welcome, Jenny.
Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you, Jenny.
Glad to be here.
Thanks for being on board.
I want to also now introduce Chris Smith. Chris Smith has now been here for a few months now as one of our veteran service officers in the Service Claims Department. Chris comes from Ohio Means Jobs as a DVOT. And most importantly, Chris just passed his County Veteran Service Officer exam last week.
Oh,
So he's on his way to accreditation. So we welcome Chris.
Congratulations.
Also, regret, he's a United States Marine.
We won't hold up.
We won't hold it.
I won't hold that against you because we pulled you around.
Okay, last but not least, the most recent addition, glad to have him on board. Cornell White comes to us, answering the call to be our Veteran Self-Sufficiency Coordinator / Veteran Service Officer. Cornell is familiar with our office. He was actually an IT specialist with Connexio, who's the third party that supported IT for this building, specifically our office. When I found out that he was a veteran, not only that, he was an Army veteran. Offered him the position, and he's coming on board now. This is week 1 for Cornell, so we welcome him as our new VSO.
Welcome.
Now, he was a Marine and then turned Army. So, yeah.
Wow.
It wasn't without
Yeah, right.
He's regretting every minute. believe that shows.
Needs a maybe.
Level intelligence. Somewhere on the same way.
So,
Well, we'd like to welcome all our new staff members. We're excited to have you. You're very important to our success, and we're very excited and thrilled to have you, and we hope that we have a long relationship with all of you.
Hey.
All right. Last but not least, because I know that our transportation manager, James, has to leave for actually an appointment. I'll let you share what that is.
Yeah,
Give an update on transportation.
Yeah, update for transportation. So we do have a new employee who's going to be going through, we're still, has to do the background check and a few things, but I'm going to be meeting him and going over the wheelchair lift on the van.
He's a driver, part-time driver.
As a part-time driver, excuse me. But then from there, I'm going to take the van and do our very first pickup, just so I can see what exactly it's going to look like. Going to the residence, picking up the veteran, getting to the VA, that whole process, getting the vet back home. So the very first pickup is going to be today. So I'm not going to stay for the entire meeting, but we're in motion. There's another interview today at 1 o'clock. Looks like a really good candidate, retired bus driver, just wants to work part-time on the side. You know, he's familiar with obviously driving a larger vehicle, walking in wheelchairs, and obviously a veteran, served I think from 72 to 75 or 74 to 78, that range. But yeah, so we're making progress.
is the person you're picking up today in a wheelchair?
No, he is not. He is ambulatory, so.
Yeah, so this will be this is a trial run today. Although it is an actual veteran client that we're going to pick up, this will serve as the first trial run for the transportation department to see how our systems can work. And before we actually go live and publicize our transportation bus service or van service, we're going to use this as our training ground.
Correct.
All right, very good. Thank you, James.
James, one question.
Yes, sir.
What is, would be about the turnaround time to pick up? Cause I have got, from other agencies, a lot of complaints that they sit there 4 and 5 hours waiting on the van to come back.
Well, you mean waiting at the VA for 4 or 5 hours?
Yeah, for a pickup to take them back home.
Well, I'm gonna stay there.
Oh,
Till
okay,
he's
good.
done. So his appointment's with wound care.
Okay,
He didn't believe it would be more than 30 minutes to an hour. So I'm gonna stay there. Now, depending on what the schedule would look like for that particular day, the driver may have to leave the VA, go pick up another vet, come back, wait. It's gonna depend.
okay, that's great.
And, that's why I kind of need to get out there and really see what it's really gonna look like in person. But no one's gonna wait 4 or 5 hours.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. We probably get a lot of service behind that because, a lot of people, their wait time was, it's crazy. So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate your service here.
Yes, sir.
You're a good person. Thank you.
Is it for public comment, Madam President?
All right.
Could I request the minutes show that Commissioner Watts has now joined the meeting?
Great. The next item on the agenda is the approval of the March 12th minutes, and those were emailed out to everyone. So I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion approved. Second that, Madam
Second, is there any discussion?
Yes, there's some errors on those minutes. They have me recorded as saying yay and nay on the same issue.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have a little trouble hearing you today.
There's an error in those minutes. They have me recorded and another commissioner recorded as saying aye and nay on the same motion. There's the 2 recorded votes.
Where is that, sir? Here's it.
It's up under the executive director goals and objective. It's got Mr. Watson saying yay, and then down behind it's got him, opposed to.
I do see that.
It's on the second page.
Under which one? Right.
You also have Mr. Stanford recorded as the same.
Yeah, I say both of them. Yeah, two people.
All right, so we need to make that correction. All right, is there any other corrections that need to be made?
Clarify, Commissioner Watson, you voted A?
I voted nay, not yay.
Okay, great. And you said there were two?
Well, that was also Mr. Stanford.
Yeah, and both of them voted no on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he voted on.
Yeah, he did, he
Yeah.
did.
Voted in opposition.
Is there any other corrections? If not, we will vote to accept the minutes, with those, corrections noted. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. I'm Canadian today, what do you want? Those opposed?
Did we have a roll call?
Yeah.
No, not
Going
required.
into the executive session is where it's required.
We're on a vote right now, so all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Okay, under new business, we'll start with, board members' responsibilities.
Madam President, the board has been given a draft that was emailed last Wednesday, which would be in compliance with the board meeting rules that was passed on March 12th unanimously by this board. That agenda items would be emailed, sent to each board member a week in advance. So the draft of the board member responsibilities and expectations was emailed a week ago for your review and for a vote of approval.
Is there, any questions on, did everybody get a chance to review? Were there any questions? Concerns? I will entertain a motion to accept the, board's, responsibilities.
I make a
You know,
motion to.
I'm sorry. I want to make one comment.
You gotta move faster, Bill.
Okay, so
I'm kidding you.
the annual status checklist for board members. And the one I wanted to point out was, as commissioners, we all need to think about what organizations we know and how we can connect with them and bring our outreach team into the conversation to help build a level of communication. So whether it's the MVets, VFW, any of those organizations, if we're involved with them, help our outreach team get in contact with them, because that's how we're going to grow our database to raise the level of service for all the veterans in Hamilton County. And the other is provide a list of 3 contacts to be solicited. I can tell you that this outreach team, they're on their game. They already gave me a list of 3 that I said I had contacts with. The Kroger Company, Roto-Rooter, and another organization. And so I'll be setting up those meetings to go out and meet with those folks, tell them about what we do, and help engage their employee affinity group. In fact, yesterday, Executive Director Sons and I had a meeting with the head of the Centos affinity group. And Centos is a national company. They have over 4,000 veterans that are part of their employment base. They've invited us to be part of a monthly Zoom call with all veterans within their organization. They would give us an opportunity to talk about what we do at the Hamilton County Veterans Association. And I just point those out because think about who you know, and give the outreach team a chance to go out and do their job. And that'll make it easy for Orlando to reach its goals and objectives of increasing the number of veterans in our database. Was it 30% this year?
That's correct. That's the goal.
So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay,
Sorry to be slow.
that's all right. We'll forgive you this one. Just teasing you. Okay, so is there any other discussion on let's make a motion. On the board members' responsibilities? You want to make a motion to accept that, Richard?
Just pass this.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting these responsibilities and expectations, signify by saying yay.
Yay.
Any objections, saying nay? Any nays? Okay, if not, motion carried. All right, now we're on to measurements and monitoring reports.
Madam
First
President.
under finance and budget.
Yep, so what the staff and I will do on a regular basis is, through measurements and monitoring reports, give an update on the various, departments that we have. The first one under finance and budget, the financial services department, led by manager Jim Grodefeld here. I'd like to give an update on, some of the things that, our financial services department is doing differently that's going to, be a better service to our veterans.
Good morning. As you know, in our last meeting last month, I discussed the fact that some of the verbiage in our policies and procedures is kind of arbitrary, open to a lot of interpretation. So in some ways, that was restricting our ability to assist. I am still working with the director in updating that, making some changes that should make it much more easy to assist veterans who are experiencing any kind of hardship. Along those lines, we have instituted, and you have these in your folders, it's an acknowledgement of assistance and conditions for subsequent assistance. This lists an individual plan that we're creating for every veteran that we assist. So if we identify, for instance, a hardship related to unemployment, we're going to recommend that they seek out any kind of employment services in the county. We're going to make specific direct recommendations for budget training, things of that nature. We're going to create this plan. The veteran will sign this, and it will be a factor if they come back for any subsequent assistance. It will not be determinative of eligibility, but it'll be a factor in determining whether or not they're eligible. We've also created a spreadsheet. Each one of our financial workers, our VSOs who are in the finance department, will track the recommendations they make and the progress with the veterans. It'll set out a follow-up date, follow up with the veteran, and even contact the organizations to make sure that the veteran has done what we have asked him or her to do. So in doing all of that, we're hoping that we can also meet our objective of increasing applications and actually assisting veterans going forward. You have any questions?
The thing I'll add to that is, again, Jim is doing a great job leading the charge and really changing the perception of our commission into a more positive one with the county. Is how do we at the staff level, below the board, get to a place where philosophically we don't tell the veteran no when they seek assistance, okay? We put the ownership on the veteran that if you were to apply and are in need of financial assistance, we will look at your situation on a case-by-case basis to determine if there's a financial hardship. And we will try to get to a yes, of course, within reason and setting these parameters that Jim has talked about. If the answer is we can't at our level approve you, well, then that's where the board comes in and the board makes the final determination on whether to render the assistance. If the veteran then comes for subsequent assistance, then the answer is not, well, you just came last month, which really our current policy is dictating. or you've come in for the last 3 months. So the answer is definitively at the staff level, no. We're going to change it to, just like Jim said, okay, well, we're going to look to help you out, but let's see that you did the things that you promised you do in terms of, have you sat down and reviewed a budget? Have you contacted Jobs and Family Services? Have you contacted an employer workforce? So if the answer is no on their end, well, then that's why their assistance isn't going to be granted at the staff level. It's because the ownership is on the veteran now. So I think that's the way other counties that are succeeding do it in Ohio, and we want to do the same. It's just going to be better for the veteran, better for our commission. So thank you, Jim.
Yeah, it's better for the board. You'll have this as a basis when someone does appeal to you, and you'll see whether or not they complied with the suggestions that we made.
I think this is great because it's, first of all, sometimes people don't know what to do. So this is kind of like a blueprint for them. You know, you've got it set forward, you know, yes, maybe we can help you, but we need you to do these things to try to make sure that you get on your own feet. And, you know, we're going to help you now, but you need to do these things. I think that's great. And it's in black and white. They sign it, they acknowledge it.
And I tell every veteran that we assist, if we're doing our job correctly, you won't come back in here. And now this gives us a standard to
Yeah.
apply to that statement, so.
I think that's great. I think that's great.
Good job, Jeff.
Thank you.
Would it be possible to share a list of supporting organizations that we have so far, and then understand what we're going to add to that as a whole menu of services?
Yeah, actually, Chris created a list when he first came on board and consolidated a lot of the organizations in the community that we refer people to. So we do have an active list, and we can get a copy of that to you.
Great, thank you, I appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
Okay, so now we're moving on to measurements, monitoring, reports. See, we're going to the building of our customer base.
Yes, Madam President. So that, our customers are the veterans at Hamilton County, the over 41,000 veterans here within our jurisdiction. And so how do we build really a database for who those veterans are, what their contact information is? So I'm actually going to turn this over to our communications coordinator, Jenny, just to give an overview of how we're doing that and how we're seeking to improve our capturing of that veteran data. Jenny?
So we have, Amber had created spreadsheets with all the contacts that she's making, has made before I got here a week ago, week and a half ago, basically. And we're also, anytime that we're out at an event, we are capturing email addresses to, continue to build that database. Amber she was starting out with 4,000 and she's up to 6,000 now. So we're getting close to the 30%, or that probably is 30%, but we're not going to stop there. We're going to keep going and collecting email addresses. So.
The outreach team, again, is doing an excellent job. They are, I think at times, I don't want to put words in their mouth, but maybe overwhelmed, because we're a big county compared to the other 88 counties. We're the third largest by veteran population. So we have a lot of veterans. We also have a lot of avenues by which we can make contact with these veterans. Businesses, as Commissioner Burwinkle indicated, other third-party entities that are of the shared mission, Easter Seals on our nonprofit side, OMJ as well. So the force multiplier is the more we can make contact with these agencies, and to the extent that they are permitted and willing to share that data with us, contact just an email, then we can blast out our newsletter to these veterans and update. The other thing too that I want to update the board on is we've just now engaged and tried to leverage technology more so for our advantage. IndiGov is a software that we are looking to implement in our office. IndiGov is a software that's used by a lot of members of Congress to contact their constituents. So I first heard about it not through the legislative side, but through the Cincinnati VA. The Cincinnati VA's Public Affairs Office, led by Todd Sledge, is, as we speak, trying to engage with Indigo to do just that. How do you contact the veterans through a client relation management tool, a CRM? So we did a series of demos. The staff was part of that demo. We all collectively together agreed that, you know what, this is going to be great for our office. It does two things well. One is it's going to be able to capture our intake of veteran data more streamlined. So if a veteran contacts us through the website and says, I'd like to learn more about rent assistance or claims, well, just like a congressional office may have a constituent staff member, they're going to get an automatic email that says, thanks for contacting our office regarding, and then it's specific, regarding rent assistance. We will be in contact with you, or here's the link to the application process to begin the process for applying for assistance. All that automated. The second thing it will do is it's going to help the outreach team. It has a way to send newsletter information or email blast already with the data that's in there regarding those that are in the constituent district, right? So a congressional office may have District 1, 2, or 3. Well, we have Hamilton County, Ohio. They showed us that they can geofence Hamilton County and only the email addresses of the, on the legislative side, voters, right? For our side, only the veterans in that county that they have emails of will then be able to send a newsletter or email update directly through the software. We don't have to create it in a third-party software and then send a mass email out through Outlook. All of it is done through Indigo. So we're really excited about that. We're really excited that Cornell, with his IT background and right up his mission set of trying to do better in how do we create a system where our departments talk to each other, right? I believe that's self-sufficiency coordination, right? That he's going to be the lead in getting us implemented with that software. So we're excited to launch that hopefully in the next month or so. So thank you, Jenny.
All right, well, that sounds exciting. It also sounds logical to me to do it that way. More veterans we can reach out to, the more we can better serve them. All right, so now we're down to veterans and community benefits. I guess first is Cincinnati Reds. Thank you, James.
Just to update on who the partners are that we're looking to engage with or we've currently set to engage with in terms of how do we do a shared partnership with them that we're helping to boost their recognition in the community, but also they want to be recognized as being supportive of the veterans in Hamilton County. So the Cincinnati Reds, same thing that we had passed last meeting for a corporate sponsorship. Well, in exchange that we are looking to do some sort of agreement with the Reds to where if there's a Hamilton County veteran that wants to see a Reds game, that the Veteran Service Commission would be the one that the Reds would offer a military discount only to Hamilton County veterans, and that the Veteran Service Commission would look to pay the difference of that ticket. So we're still in talks with that, but I think that there's a way. The Reds has never done that before. It'd be a way for us to, again, partner with one of the major league sports teams here in order to recognize our veterans. Same thing with Great Parks of Hamilton County. So again, through connections of this board, specifically through Commissioner Burwinkle, we're in discussions right now of how do we offer all veterans of Hamilton County a free park pass for the year. If the Veteran Service Commission can shoulder a $10, $15 cost per pass, that's too easy. It puts our name out there. It shows that we're a strong partner of Great Parks, and that way the veteran also gets the benefit of getting the recognition. So for others, again, the staff would look to the board, to the contacts that you have within your network as well. Please send them our way. I'm happy to meet with whoever, whether it was Cintas yesterday or the Reds or Great Parks, to just, again, get our name out there as a strong partner with these other Hamilton County entities. So,
Back up on that, a lot of veterans really don't know, and you discuss it with them, that's 100%, they get free passes to the parks and stuff. And a lot of them really didn't know that, and we start emphasizing that to them, how to do it, how you get free, fishing license, to the vets, to get that
License
information out.
plates.
Yeah, license plates, everything.
There's a whole slew of
But they
things.
didn't know this, and it's a thing that the service officers should be able to, let them know if you're 100% what you get, what you're entitled to in the state of Ohio.
right.
You're absolutely right, and that's what's really exciting about the formation of the newsletter and gathering of all the veterans' information. Because if we can do that, then we have a regular level of communication. Great parts of Hamilton County, traditionally, they offer a free pass to a disabled vet.
Right.
And the conversation was, well, what about all veterans? All veterans left their families and went and served their country. Why wouldn't we support all veterans? And they're considering that right now. And this morning, the Museum Center just confirmed our meeting for later in April to meet with them to talk about a collaboration with the Museum Center and our organization and offer that as a benefit to veterans.
Great,
Great.
thank you, Bill.
That's all we have, Madam President.
Okay, we're down to, commissioners. Any commissioner have an update?
Yes,
Yeah.
I was invited to the South High School Veterans event on, I think it was the 17th of April for their program, and I will be getting some information to bring back, collaborating. I actually will be giving it to Commissioner Watson to see if they, he can talk to them about the programs he's interested in with the what do you call it, RTOC, for high school.
ROTC?
Yeah, they get him involved in that and get him a contact person for that. Then, I'm involved from the DAV of Hamilton County. I pass out Hamilton County veteran cards for this office at Fort Thomas, people that's in the drug program and people that's in, dormitory. They really didn't know about Hamilton County, the things that they are entitled to if they're a Hamilton County vet. And what I really emphasize, now, you don't have to be a Hamilton County vet to get serviced by a service officer. They, you can come in and they will take care of you, because it's a long line. It really bothers me. I pass out coffee on the third Tuesday. And vets come, the door is locked right there where they're trying to get in to get information. So I give them a card, Pam's card, I have a lot of hers, so they can come down here right away. They have to wait 30 days sometimes, don't nobody open the door. And to be a vet and at the VA hospital, it bothers me, And so I'm reaching out to them vets to send them down here to Hamilton County to see a VSO, and they really appreciate that. And I do every fourth Tuesday, I give a report to the DAV from Chapter 1. And then on the third Tuesday, I give a report to 631 American Legion. And you'd be surprised that people don't realize their benefits through Hamilton County and the state of Ohio. And with that, that's all I have. Thank you.
That's great. Any other commissioners have an update? I'd like to say that I thoroughly enjoyed our visit to Stark County. I think that all of us who went learned a great deal. They were just so welcoming and just gave us so much information. We shared a lot of good ideas. They have a smaller county than we do, but they have a much bigger staff than we do. Of course, they have a much bigger building. But they run on all cylinders, and I just thought it was great that we were invited to go, and that the staff members who went, I think you came away with a lot of good ideas. I know I did. I just they were just very welcoming to all of us. And then, when we left there, we went to our, meeting in Dublin for our training and that. And I think every time that we go to training, I walk away with some knowledge that I didn't have before. And I know that up there at Stark County, I walked away with some knowledge that I did not know, that I've been sharing with people that are 100% disabled through the VA. That if they're been on it for 10 years, and they pass away, they don't have to pass away from what they've been diagnosed for their disability, and their spouse can still collect part of their pension. And I know several people along those lines that my sister and my sister-in-law, both my brother and my brother-in-law are both 100% disabled from Agent Orange. So I shared that information with them. So I just think that was, I didn't know that before. I always thought you had to pass away, the veteran had to pass away from what they were diagnosed for, the disability. That's what I've always been told. But learning that if you've been on that for 10 years, you don't have to. And if your disability was diagnosed when you discharged from the military and you've been on it for 5 years, you don't have to pass away from that disability for your spouse to get your pension, part of your pension. So I walked away with some knowledge there. So I just think that, the more places you go, the more people that you talk to, you learn something new every day. So that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Welcome. Commissioner, I've got a couple updates as well. One, you've gotten the updates for outreach events. They are in front of you, that's highlighted. So again, outreach team doing a great job scheduling these events, various events, and partnering with the community. The other thing too, there's two forms. They almost look similar to each other, although they're not. They are the matrix, the sponsorship policy assessment forms that was passed by this board. We have gotten a series of requests already. And I will just say from the staff standpoint, having a standardized system of requesting assistance has been helpful for us. There's a way that we can just, again, send it back to the entity. They take ownership on if they seriously are requesting sponsorship assistance by our office, well, then you've got to turn in the appropriate documents at a certain required time frame, and we will assess. So there are two sponsorship requests here. I'll caveat this with first, the sponsorship request policy was passed in the February meeting. And there's dollar caps there. So it ranges from no sponsorship, $0 to up to $10,000 maximum. In the March meeting, this board then clarified the spending authorization of the director and set a $50,000 threshold limit. So I just need clarification on whether that threshold limit also pertains to sponsorships. If they do not, then I'd like to just present this to you for your situational awareness. That's what I will do is at every board meeting, I will, exactly like this, I will give a copy for the board to review the requests that have come in the last month. Commissioner Park, right there.
Good morning.
We did not ask, this wasn't included in that budget, because we didn't have this.
Correct. Well, it was passed before
Right.
the budget.
But my thing is, I like this to come to the board, because a lot of these programs have first responders, they have people not in Hamilton County, and I have a very problem with that, sponsoring things that ain't entitled to the people of Hamilton County.
Yeah.
And not veterans. You have like first responders. No, we should not give our money to a program that's assisting them. It should be directly to a veteran from Hamilton County, not a veteran from Kentucky. They got all around Kentucky, Indiana, and the state of Ohio. And then we have all these outside counties that, are supporting. It needs to come to the board. We really need to look at this, before we giving these people money and assisting them. When, we had a person come in, asking for over $100,000 for a concert, That's not including our people here in Hamilton County. It was complete for everybody. And I have a problem that money should go to a vet from Hamilton County.
Yes.
And I'll fight that with nails, tooth, and for the vets in Hamilton County. Because I feel that our money is not getting misused if we give it to an organization that's serving everybody.
Yeah.
I'm for the vets in Hamilton County, not the fire department, not the police. And I see this coming to us with a lot of organizations, and we really need to take a hard look at this.
I agree. Yes, Commissioner. So I agree. So currently the process right now, if the board is not inclined to change it, is to present sponsorship requests directly to the board. And it does make sense that the board would be the final approval for sponsorship because it's the entity that's then deciding to partner with another entity. So the staff is happy to do that. Absolutely. So here is 2 requests that we've submitted. Just a point of order. We want the records to reflect that Commissioner Parks is present with us with her excusal from her duties as a city councilwoman. So she's present for this meeting. Thank you, Commissioner. So the 2 requests that we've gotten are the first one, the USS Cincinnati Memorial. So I had a great luncheon with the Navy League, their regular luncheon, and they had actual active duty sailors of the USS Cincinnati come and be our honored guests. Commissioner Burnwinkle was also in attendance there. So the USS Cincinnati Memorial Peace Pavilion is being currently built at Voice of America Park. And that it was originally asked to be down at the banks, but it ended up being at Voice of America Park. So the Navy League has requested for assistance in order to sponsor that build of the USS Cincinnati. It's a Cold War sub that we've gotten parts of it that now will be brought here to Southwest Ohio in order to honor all the sailors that served during that era. But then also it's to foster a military awareness for our youth.
That's in Butler County. I mean,
Correct.
Is it Butler County or Claremont County?
It's Butler County.
Okay.
So I appreciate Commissioner Hedden bringing up the regional impact versus the direct Hamilton County impact. We actually capture that through our matrix. So if you look at the geographic impact, it's the second line item. Commissioner Parks would be this document in your folder. The geographic impact actually does not give the highest score of 10 if the entity is seeking to benefit veterans that are also outside of Hamilton County. They only get 5 points, okay? Or if there's no direct benefit to county veterans, then they get 0. So this is a great example. The Peace Pavilion is located outside of the county, but it will seek to support Hamilton County veterans. It'd be the only USS. It'd be the only U.S. submarine memorial that we'll have in Southwest Ohio. But we're not going to give it the maximum score of 10 because it exists outside of the county, or it has a regional impact, not a direct Hamilton County impact. So that's where you'd see a 5 point. Yes.
May I comment, please?
Yes.
So the effort to have it put on the banks was never supported by the Veterans Service Commission. Todd Pertune really fought for this. That is why it's even here. Perhaps we can continue or start the effort over again because it should be in Hamilton County.
Fortunately, they've already broken ground at Voice of America Park. Right. Have to have that conversation. Yeah.
I mean, the fight, the reason it even exists, the reason that it is in our sphere is because of his efforts to have it put at the banks. I believe that it would have happened had we had the support of this organization. And so now that we're stronger, I believe that we could do it, and Voice of America, as far as I'm concerned, that's historically is not beneficial to people like me.
I will have those conversations. If there's a way, we're gonna try to make it happen.
That'd
But
be awesome.
there is a request, thank you, Commissioner Park. There is a request that they've put, and the outreach manager, Amber, and I agree that at a total rating of 90 points, that they would be granted a request of the maximum $10,000 sponsorship request.
What is, if you know, what are the other counties, surrounding counties, veterans associations are giving?
We would be the first one.
I have a problem because it's in Butler County. I would like to see what Butler County is giving, what Warren County is giving, and Claremont County is giving, and Miami County, because it's serving this region.
Right.
So if we the only one doing this, I have a problem with it being in Butler County. It's not serving the people of Hamilton County. You know, it's serving multiple people in multiple counties. So I would like to see multiple veterans association and see what they're doing.
Noted. Yep.
Director,
Yes.
do you know why it ended up there?
I was told, this is what I was told, is that the discussions with Cincinnati Parks was that the parks did not want to militarize the parks at the banks. That was the terms that was relayed to me by the USS Cincinnati board. So they went to
Militarize.
that was the term that Cincinnati Parks had said, that they didn't want to militarize the park. So then they went elsewhere, and this was 10 years ago.
It's been a long
Yeah.
time.
So it's been a long time. So Commissioner Adams' point is well taken. I will get that to the board. I will say they are short $2 million to even have this built. The total budget is $8 million in order to make this happen. And so $10,000 will not go far, but it's the least we can do to support our sailors and really all veterans with this memorial. But I'm actually meeting with the directors of Claremont and Warren County next Tuesday. So I will ask them. But that's the recommendation of the board, but subject to the board's final approval.
You know, and Richard, I agree with your thought process, Richard, is like, okay, so there was 4 or 5 counties involved, and so I like to say, hey, we're on board, but we're on board contingent on what all the other counties are gonna belly up.
Yeah.
And then also, what collateral material and promotional opportunities are we gonna have to have our commission recognized as a sponsor of this thing?
So I can answer that question. So at the minimum $10,000 level for actual recognition at the actual pavilion, we will be recognized with our emblem as an actual major sponsor. So that was the minimum at $10,000. So we will have recognition there. The other thing I will say is we could look at this one of two ways. The board can look at sponsorships like this and partnerships as either we're going to follow suit with other surrounding counties, which to be honest, we have been doing for a long time. Right now, we're playing catch up. We just got a van. We're playing catch up with Warren County. They have 20 vans. We just got on radio and TV. We're playing catch up with Butler County. Okay. I'd like to help lead the organization to how does Hamilton County finally take point? How do we lead? And if we lead the charge with something like this and say, okay, there's not any surrounding counties now that are supporting the USS Cincinnati. Well, you know what? We're going to be the first one. And that our team is going to then reach out to our counterparts in the other counties and say, hey, why haven't you supported? This is an easy ask of a $10,000 sponsorship. You need to get on board. And if you won't get on board, well, then Hamilton County will be the only one that's going to be listed as the Veteran Service Commission that supported the USS Cincinnati. So that's another way to look at it.
Is it 10,000, is that the minimum threshold for major sponsors?
Correct.
So they come in less than 10,000.
We will not be, our emblem will not be on the actual statute. Yeah,
Okay, so if Butler comes in at 5,000, they won't be on the statute.
correct. But our $10,000 is our limit that we've put for maximum contribution for sponsorship. Yeah, Commissioner.
I just want to raise the fact that if it were not for the efforts of Hamilton County,
Correct,
it
yes.
wouldn't be anywhere.
Well, and yeah, that's well said. I mean, I think with its history of even making it here, Hamilton County has a vested interest. But if the board would like, we can call for a vote now or table this vote and I get additional information. I mean,
I'd like to make a motion, we table this, till we get more information.
We have a motion to table the sponsorship of this until, our director is able to get more information and to see if the other counties, are gonna have any interest in doing this. Do I have a second? A second by Jerry Rowland. Is there any discussion?
There's one other consideration that probably ought to at least lend some weight to. If Butler County came to Hamilton County and sponsored an event here without coordinating with us, how would we react to Butler or any other county, Montgomery or Claremont? How would we react to them sponsoring an event in our county without coordinating with us?
well, it's actually happening now, Commissioner.
Yeah, but you're asking us to approve money that you haven't done the coordination with Butler County yet. So I think Mr. Eden's motion to table this is most appropriate at this time.
Okay, if I could just comment on that briefly, is that is currently happening now, is that Butler County and Claremont County have done a series of events in our jurisdiction in sponsorship with the Cincinnati Medical Center, because there has not been a strong partnership with the Hamilton County Veteran Service Commission in the past, although that's changed now. What's an example? They just did a town hall for mental health services at Xavier University a few months back, and only at the at the tail end of the preparation for the event were we contacted. And when we reached out and said, why were we contacted? They said, well, this has been the process in the past, that when we offer town halls, we reach out to two counties, Claremont and Butler County, and the VA. And then they did it. They hosted at Xavier, and Local 12 or Fox 19 did the town hall. So when I got wind of that, we changed that. And I asked for a proposal for a sponsorship with Fox 19 that we would engage so that we wouldn't be left out when things happen in our county. So this is the reverse. If Claremont and Butler County have not engaged, and I will verify if they have with USS Cincinnati, well, that shouldn't be a deterrent, in my opinion, for us to partner with something that has a Hamilton County impact, although it may not be outside of our jurisdiction. And then I will inform them of that. Because again, if we want to be, this is my goal, although I didn't say my goals and objectives. My goal is to make this commission the best commission, at least in Southern Ohio. And the way to do that is we need to be the tip of the spear when it comes to sponsoring things like this.
I agree. I think we need to take the lead. They advertise billboards down here. They don't ask our permission to put a billboard in Hamilton County or Warren County or Butler County, so we need to take the lead.
I see taking the lead, but giving money to this is different than taking the lead. You know, I can understand they ain't got to come here and ask us X, Y, Z. But when we giving money to a thing, I'm reading this, you know, I'm reading, you know, like Wright Patterson and all this, First Butler County Treasurer. I see nothing about Hamilton County.
Well,
I mean, not a thing about Hamilton County.
it's the USS Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Where's Cincinnati?
Yeah, but
I mean, it's like a no-brainer.
yeah, but I know
We need
the
to be involved.
organizations and stuff is like, you know, when we've been working with Butler County Treasurer, and they talking about the economic impact study, you know, they talking all this partnership of museums. the Voice of America. And then it says U.S. Memorial, Peace Pavilion. But the National Museum of the U.S. Air Force at Wright-Patterson, Dayton, Ohio. Impact. I see nothing. And then down at the bottom, the Veteran Service Commission would like to recognize at the commander level, they give 10,000. We are not in here nowhere. I would like to have this table. It's a motion on the floor. No, I'm just saying.
You already said all that.
Right.
We've got a motion on the floor. It's gonna be tabled.
Okay.
We know how you feel. We know how everybody feels. Orlando's gonna come back with some more information. You know, you gotta realize that once this is in place, there's probably students from Hamilton County that are going to go up there and tour that and come back with the knowledge of that. So anyways, we've got a motion to table it. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Any opposed, say nay.
I oppose the table.
Motion tabled until our director has more information. All right.
Thank you, Madam President. The second one is Adopt a Class Heroes Day. This is the second year that Adopt a Class is going to, I just want to be clear for the record that Commissioner Berwinkle, you are recusing yourself from that vote.
Myself, man, if I were safe.
So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it'd be a 5-1, 5 vote to table, 1 vote to oppose the tabling, 1 vote to recuse. Motion to table passes for clarity. For Adopt a Class Heroes event, this is the second annual Heroes event that Adopt a Class, a nonprofit, is hosting at Lunken Airport. And it is to honor military and veteran personnel, but also be an outreach event so that kids, school-age kids, can really understand better what it means to serve in our U.S. military. So they're going to host it. It's going to be in 2024. They had about 500 7th graders at the inaugural Heroes Day event. They saw U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopters, various weapon systems. Civil Air Patrol was there, and they've asked that the Veteran Service Commission be one of the lead sponsors for that event, that we could then support not just for financial contribution, independent of financial support that this board passes or not. We're going to close the office, and we're going to send our staff there to support this event. So the outreach manager and I agree of the request. The request was for the maximum of 10,000, and we're recommending 7,500. The reason for that is, again, it's got a regional impact. There's students from Butler County that are going to come, and Claremont County as well. The majority are going to come from Hamilton County. So it does not directly benefit Hamilton County, but it has a regional benefit that includes Hamilton County. So they'd get 5 points for geographic impact, not the full 10. That would make a total assessment score of 75. So recommending approval of $7,500.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this.
And
7,500.
7,500. Okay, we have a motion to approve the Adopt a Class requests for 77,500. Is there a second? Second. Is there any discussion?
Just one item, Madam President. These organizations are asking for our support financially. I think that it would be a much more cohesive program if we invited them to come to the board and present their request to the board so that all commissioners would have an opportunity to interview them and ask questions about what the proposal is and what the benefit is, rather than the recommendation that we receive on paper. They can come and make a presentation to this board, and I think they should. Any organization that's asking for our financial support.
Madam President, I'll just comment that the board in the February meeting passed a policy, a sponsorship policy, that outlined a series of steps that these entities would do. Those steps were clearly outlined, and this board voted in favor of passing that policy. That policy stated that the staff would present the final recommendation to the board. And if there's any additional clarifying questions, then it could be done through exactly what just happened with the USS Cincinnati's request, that it would be tabled, the staff would go back to the entity and then seek those questions. We certainly don't want to bog down meetings with having a series of other entities to come down and present a request when they've already submitted all the substantiating documents that would even justify their request even being sufficient enough to make it to the board initially.
Am I hearing you say you are against having outside organizations make a presentation before the board?
No, I'm saying that if there's going to be a change to the policy, then I believe the correct procedure would be a motion to amend the policy that we currently have and seek for a formal approval of the board to change that policy.
There is no formal policy that says we cannot or should not invite outside guests, companies, organizations that are interested in working with us to make their presentation before the board. There is no policy that says that.
The policy that was passed in February had a list of, I believe, 8 steps, and it laid out for the entities step 1 through 8. And nowhere in those steps does it say that the entity has to present the request to the board.
Well, I'm suggesting that we do that.
Okay, so is that a motion?
No, it's not a motion.
That's fine, that's a separate issue. If we want to do that, but we got to decide what we're going to do on this right now. So if we want to amend how we do the procedure, that's fine. But right now, we have a motion on the floor to approve this, so let's
I have a question. The
sure,
organization has submitted a proposal
Yes.
that we accepted,
Yes.
that followed our guidelines.
Yes.
Who accepted it?
this
The outreach
board
we
did.
did. Yes.
It was presented to our board and we approved it.
We approved the adopt the class.
No, we approved the
Well, that's the one
procedures.
that we're talking about.
She asked if the procedures had been approved, and yes, they
I
have.
thought she asked had this commission been.
No,
Ms. Parker?
we got a motion on the floor
Well, I
to
just want
approve this.
clarification from the commissioner's statement, which she meant.
What I asked was, this body voted on a procedure that an organization will take in order to submit a proposal for our consideration.
Yeah.
And my question was, did adopt a class follow our steps? It is a proposal. Is it in the form that we request? Has it met our criteria?
Yes, Commissioner. And because of that policy, a request would not even make its way to this board meeting unless it followed those steps.
Right.
And so if there's a deviation from that policy, all I'm suggesting is that might be fine, but we would then need to amend the policy. That's why the staff and I have sought to implement policies so that there's no arbitrary implementation of policies at whim. One entity is required to only submit one document, the other entity is required to stand before this commission and present. No, there should be standard operating procedures. One of them is sponsorships. We now have that. These 2 entities have followed that. There's actually 2 entities pending even recommendation by me because they have not followed the policies yet. So these 2 have followed these policies. They are ready for final approval. And so that's what we're asking for right now is a final approval, yes, no, for adopt a class, the sponsorship request.
And we'll need to do a roll call because it's due to, with money, financial.
My understanding is not required, only the one that's roll call would be going into executive session, but it's at the discretion of the chair.
There are different issues at play here. I think the reason that a roll call vote would be required too, so that the record of the minutes in this meeting would allow a clear refusal vote to be recorded as opposed to an yay or nay where the voices are not necessarily clear, although the minutes may reflect it. It makes sense to allow a roll call vote so that it could be recorded clearly.
But not so required for budgetary matters, right?
There's a particular issue this commission's trying to avoid by allowing a commissioner to recuse. budgetary votes. I'm not sure I'm understanding the question.
Well, my understanding is that there is no set guideline that any budgetary matters has to be roll call vote.
Yeah, I mean, that's a broad question, but, no, I'm not aware of that. But for the particular instance.
Not for this particular purpose, it would be a good idea.
Right, a good idea, but not required. It's your discretion.
But
Right.
I just like the vote.
Right.
All right, so roll call, Pam, please.
Commissioner Bullwinkle,
I recluse myself.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yeah.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
One final update.
May I say something first? In terms of a formal request for financial assistance, I have no problem with following that procedure. But there should not be an objection from our staff that we invite people who want to present to our board for its approval, the opportunity to come and address the board.
Well, that could be a question for
I don't think it is a cumbersome issue. I think it is a issue of getting information out and making it accessible to those of us who make those decisions.
You clarify, Madam President, there is no objection from the staff. I'm simply suggesting that the proper procedure would be a motion to amend our policy for that. I'm not objecting to that.
Your policy is not an issue.
It's not my policy, it's the board's
It
policy.
It is your staff policy.
It's the board's
And I
policy.
voted to approve that procedure that we just undertook with adopt the class. What I am saying is that this board can, and I think this board should feel free to invite any organization to appear before the board to present on their behalf or present an issue or just to introduce their agency to the board. And I think that that's a separate issue from following the strict guidelines you're suggesting that we follow.
I think that they can ask the people, when they apply, if they want to come to the board and present. And if they do, we welcome them with open arms.
But each commissioner could invite someone or some organization to speak if they want to.
Well, they still have to follow the rules and fill out the paperwork.
Okay,
Even though
so
they're not
that-
supporting, even though they're not asking for financial support.
I'm sorry?
Even though they are not asking for financial support.
We're talking about we're talking about people who are asking for donations.
That wasn't the point that I raised. I raised the point that we should be able to invite organizations to come before this board and speak.
Well, absolutely, anytime. This is a
Yes,
separate
absolutely.
issue. This is a financial issue. It's, anybody who wants to bring anybody here to present something to us or whatever, they're more than welcome. This is if they're asking for a donation to sponsor their program, this is what we discussed, this is what was wrote up, and this is what was voted on, and it was approved unanimously by this board. Now, if you have someone you want to, or Richard or Jerry, Parks, has got someone who wants to come and talk to us about what they're doing, they're more than welcome, always. Our meetings are open to everyone. Always and forever. Anybody who wants to come speak to us are more than welcome. Okay.
If I might add, Madam President, is that not what public comment is for on the agenda? That's right.
Like I said, but if a commissioner's got somebody who they want to invite,
Public comment is for, we can ask that an individual, an organization be here and put them on the agenda as a separate item, not just have it a 2-minute public conversation.
if we know that someone wants to invite someone, that is perfectly acceptable. Okay?
That's all I have, ma'am.
And I mean, that's how we learn.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to entertain a motion to move to executive session to review emergency financial assistance applications for the period of 3/1/25 through 3/31/25 in pursuit of the ORC 121.22J and 5901.09C. Chair, I'll make the motion to go ahead.
Financial.
We have a motion to go into executive session. Second. All in favor, signify by saying aye. Oh, yeah, we gotta go. I'm sorry, roll call, please.
Commissioner Burwinkle,
I recruited myself.
Executive session.
executive session.
You could go into executive
I
session.
can go.
Yeah, you know it.
Yes.
Yeah, go there.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yeah.
and Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
I make a motion that Pam be included to our executive session and the prosecutor.
I second.
We'll want to clarify that the director is also invited.
And the director, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. And our financial
Manager.
executive officer.
Once again, I'm saying.
All right.
Can you open the door please for this? There's a motion on the floor.
We can't really vote in executive session,
What?
so
With
there you
that,
go. Now we're not in.
I make a motion, we go out of executive session.
Yeah, all right, so let me try to clean this up. So there was a vote to go into executive session. There was a roll call vote that approved that vote. As an attempt to clean it up, Commissioner Rowland suggested that we clarify who's allowed to attend the executive session. There has been another, we could say for the purposes of the meeting, that the executive session has not started. You could take the vote on the additional attendees and then we could close the door and
I just like to clear this up that we don't have to vote on this every single solitary time.
I would agree with that as well. I understand there may be a reason to include votes for clarity purposes, especially given the certain scrutiny certain individuals are putting on this commission in recent times. I don't think it's legally required, as long as the commission amongst themselves are on the
Okay,
same
well-
page as to who can attend the meeting. If that is not a clarity amongst the commission, it should be mentioned before the executive session.
Okay.
Madam President, here's the suggestion that I would make is that a motion be made to permit, for the purposes of reviewing emergency financial assistance, at every meeting, the executive director, the executive assistant, and the financial manager, and the prosecutor, until such a time where that motion is overridden by vote.
What do you mean by overridden?
By a vote that would then override that those four would not be invited to that specific meeting pertaining to emergency financial assistance.
I got a question. An executive session is by its nature exclusionary. It is intended to not permit attendance by those who are not the executives concerned. The executive session is a session for the executives, and that is the commission. There are issues that come up that may come up during executive session that involve someone who has been invited to attend that meeting. And the executive session would not be allowed to do its job by allowing a non-executive to engage into the deliberations of the executive session. And I think that the executive session, if we're going to make exceptions for having people attend the executive session, it should be for those people to provide information which the executive session should consider, but not to be involved in the deliberations of
Well, if we're talking, first of all, when you say what we're going into executive session for, we're only going into executive session for financial reasons, for the financials. If we were going into executive session for any personnel issues, I don't think any staff members should be included.
Are you aware that I made a request that was not entered into the meeting, into the minutes on the executive session to add office matters to the executive session? That request has not been acted on?
No, I didn't.
I sent you a copy of it.
Vital discussion, I wasn't in on it, so,
There's a motion on the floor.
I know.
Yeah, but
We need to get with the motion and then come back to that. There's a motion on the floor.
So to clarify, what is the motion on the floor? So
The motion on the floor was to invite 4 people to the executive session.
for every executive session pertaining to emergency financial assistance,
It was just for this meeting.
just for this meeting.
Just for this meeting, what is the motion? Then we have to come back and do that. But it's a motion on the floor to invite 4 people. The director, the assistant, administrator, the prosecutor, and the financial
Manager.
manager.
You've heard the motion, is there a second?
Yeah.
Second.
Second, okay. Is there any other discussion?
Well, you know, if we're gonna talk about somebody, they obviously wouldn't be here. So Pam, so when we ask you to leave, it's because we caught.
Hopefully it's in a good way. Okay. Okay, Commissioner Berwinkle,
Yes.
Commissioner Hedden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland,
Yes.
Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Just to clarify my vote, this is for this meeting only.
Yes.
Is that correct? Yeah, yes, yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Sure. You said Wilson.
You forgot where.
Commissioner Ware.
Yes.
It's me, this Jim, so. All right. All right, now we can close the door, please.
I did submit a request to you, to the, secretary of the board.
Point of order. You can't do that in executive session.
Is this-
We had to go out to executive session for you to do
Wrong.
that. And then you can do that.
Wrong.
But we had to go out of executive session
You
because
are wrong.
no, I'm not wrong. Ask the prosecutor.
I submitted a request. That's official matters of this board. They were not included.
Well, first of all, Commissioner Watson, I didn't read your email until this morning.
Okay, that's you, but the Commissioner.
Well, I'm including my name, and
I did.
I'm telling you that I didn't read your email until 9 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
All right, so I don't know, I can't answer for anyone.
Well, let's have refer well, which Berwinkle after, because he was supposed to schedule, I asked him to do that. And he did not. He received my request, but he responded to it, but he did not. He made one of the changes that I recommended, which was the dates of the application for assistance was incorrect on the original draft of the agenda. He made that correction, but he did not add something that I asked to add. And
What was that?
that the executive session consider other office matters.
Well, you have to cite the code that you want to talk about.
Madam President, if I may, I'm going to turn over again. This goes down to policies and rules. On March 12th, this board unanimously voted for board meeting rules. Commissioner Watson voted yes for that. And in this document, it lays out that the secretary and executive director are responsible for preparing the meeting agenda. So I'd ask Commissioner Watson why the director wasn't included in that email. The other thing too is that
You're not a member of the executive? Yeah.
Sir, you approved board meeting rules when it comes to how this board should function.
I did
And so
answer
if
your
there's-
question. You're not a member of the executive council. I'll take that.
Per my comments to the chair. Madam President, the agenda is sent as the secretary, in his capacity as secretary laid out, the agenda is sent out to the board members 1 week in advance. We have not deviated from that policy since these board meeting rules have been implemented. And so if there's a request to change the agenda, then I believe Commissioner Berwinkle's email response to you was correct, that there would be a request to add or subtract something from the agenda made before the night before the board meeting. The second point is that if that is just a draft agenda, it is subject to approval once we get to the meeting. On the agenda for today, number 4 was the approval of the agenda. It was voted on, subject to discussion, and there was no discussion to amend that agenda.
Commissioner
for this
Watson
meeting.
was not here at that time.
Correct. And so if there's a request to change the agenda, the proper procedure would be to be here at the moment where the discussion of the agenda is to be had and the objection be made. But this agenda was approved on unanimously by the 5 commissioners that were here. That's the agenda we have for today.
The issue at stake here is whether or not the changes that I requested be made to the agenda, which included moving the executive session up from 10 to 4 That was not acted on. It included changing the dates of the, review for the financial records. That was acted upon. And I presented some items that I wanted to be brought under executive session, which was ignored. Now, the board can vote any way the board wants, but in terms of executive session, each commissioner should have the right to present to the executive session a matter of importance to that session, to that commission, and I did that.
There is a subject matter by which we go into executive session.
Yes,
And within that session, we stay within those perimeters.
yes.
So, to talk financials, that is par for the course. Of course, that would be private. And I think that anything outside of that is inappropriate. We have to stay within the confines of the subject matter of the executive session.
But I asked that be amended to allow for office concerns to be brought to the executive session, which is an appropriate function of the executive session. Because the executive session has to deal with discipline, has to deal with not following the procedures. And there are issues that I wanted to introduce which may lead to some type of disciplinary.
That is inappropriate for an open meeting.
For an open meeting,
Yeah,
I was saying that.
I mean, anything
That was to be
outside.
handled and an executive session, that's what I was asking. That those issues be dealt with in the executive session. And that my request was not acted upon. Only part of it was acted upon.
Well, here, let me help you out, Commissioner Watson. So, yesterday at 2:34 p.m., you sent an email to me, but my email address wasn't correct, so I never received it. You included, Ms. Minster, you included the president of the commission, but you left off the executive director, which I find to be very inappropriate and inconsistent with any board or any organization I've ever been involved with, that you exclude your executive director. Because as the approved procedures say, the secretary and the executive director manage the agenda.
Which secretary?
Anyone, excuse me,
Which secretary?
me.
Okay, that's why you got it. And
No, I didn't get it. You sent it to the wrong email
yeah, but
address.
you got it.
I'm sorry, you sent it to the wrong email.
But you got
I'm sorry, I did not receive your email from you. I received from Pam at 3:30 p.m. Even though the agenda had been sent out a week prior, which is what we agreed on in our board meeting procedures, which gave everybody ample opportunity to bring forth any issues or concerns. And so in your email, you say, well, moving things around, you can suggest anything you want. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. Okay? Number two,
Who has the final say?
the executive director and the secretary.
The executive director is not a member of the executive session. He is only there being invited by the commissioners to provide information.
He's
That's
got
all.
executive in
I'm
his
sorry.
title.
So
Yeah, but
anyway,
he's not a
well, you
member
know,
of the commission.
you go research that somewhere.
I got it.
Also amend. I'm sorry, I wasn't done. I was
think
speaking.
your
I was
superfluous comments you should keep to yourself.
I was speaking, okay? So also, quote, also amend the executive session item by adding board office matters, parentheses, see my separate email. Never got that email either. Am I correct? Am I correcting your draft executive session item by changing the stated financial, change the date? So I got the dates, but by correcting, let's see, by adding board office matters, parentheses, see my separate email. Okay, number one, I suggest you go look at section 121.22G for specific topics that are allowable in executive session, because I don't find board office matters in there. It's too general and your request is vague. And so, I appreciate your input.
Okay. I believe we're adjourned.
Madam President, a motion to
We
approve.
have to have a motion to adjourn.
No, to approve the financial assistance.
Oh,
application.
yeah, I'm sorry, we have to.
I make a motion that we accept the financial report.
Second.
Second, is there any discussion? Roll call.
And then the next meeting.
Wait a minute, I gotta have a vote,
Financial assistance application roll call vote.
please.
Commissioner Bullwinkle,
I abstain.
Commissioner Hadden,
Yes.
Commissioner Rowland, Commissioner Parks,
Yes.
Commissioner Ware,
Yes.
Commissioner Watson,
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes. All right, our next board meeting will be May the 21st, 2025 at 10 a.m. And we're adjourned.
Thank you. Let me.